Hey folks, Justin Webb here from Zealous Manufacturing, back with another episode of American Made. Today's episode, we're going to talk about soft jaws. We're going to discuss some of the things that soft jaws are used for, some of their application in machining applications. So we're going to get into that. We're going to talk about those pros and cons. So let's get to it. So here we have just a chunk of billet aluminum that I actually made some soft jaws out of here. We'll go into some of that, some of the programming behind that here as well. And we're going to discuss why you might want to start and make your own soft jaws versus why you might want to buy your own soft jaws. So question people who are kind of newer to this industry and are asking, pretty much anywhere you buy vices, tooling, work holding accessories, they'll probably have soft jaws. One thing to note, the hole spacing, make sure that hole spacing fits your vise. Your vise manufacturer will have that hole spacing. Just confirm. Not all vices are the same. Not even all 6-inch vices are the same. Not all 5-inch vices are the same, etc. So it's something you want to think about before you buy soft jaws. Just make sure that it fits your vise. So let's get into some of the reasons why you might want to design and make your own. So here's an example of why you might want to run soft jaws. So I have to drill and tap some holes here. I could try and hokey poke it and hold it and get an indicator and sweep this surface to make sure I'm perfectly perpendicular to my Z. But I'm just going to make soft jaws because I have to do quite a bit of these. So that would be the best option here, I think. So one thing to note here, because of the size of this part, as you can see, I do have soft jaws that I've purchased. They are not tall enough. So this is giving me an extra 3/4 of an inch up, so I can basically, you'll see something like this. I can bury this in, still have my holes here to bolt up. So that's one reason you would probably want to think about making your soft jaws if the standard jaw options that are out there just won't work for your application. So these are soft jaws that I purchased. You can purchase soft jaws almost anywhere where you buy vices. So if you don't have a lot of time or extra capacity, buying soft jaws is definitely the way to go. I usually buy all of them. However, in this case, on this item, they don't offer a size that works for this application. So I'm gonna have to make my own soft jaws. And that's why I chose to make. As opposed to buy. Normally I buy just because I don't have a lot of free time and a lot of open capacity on my machines to make soft jaws. So always something to think about. Again, this is going to be a thicker and taller than these. So just something to think about in your application if you should buy or make. So this is an item where you don't need soft jaws. We actually ran this job without soft jaws. I should clarify, we did have parallels running in between two aluminum blank soft jaws because I didn't want to mar up this surface. So parallels to set the part on, and then I just had a vise stop that was able to come in, butt up against this radius, and then we could locate it. So while they are soft jaws in nature, they weren't profiled soft jaws, if that makes sense, as opposed to like this style, which is a profiled soft jaw specifically for the product. On this one, it was just two jaw blanks, and the part was still resting on parallels. So we were using soft jaw idea to make sure that we didn't mar the product, but we didn't have a specific soft jaw per the job. So let's go back into a little bit about soft jaws in general. So we discussed how we're going to go over some of the design aspects behind soft jaws, some of the reasons why you might want to use them in different parts, and kind of go over some of the concepts and reasons behind soft jaws. So a lot of the parts that we run are aluminum, and they have some nice edges that you want to keep intact, or you don't want to mar up, or the outside finish has a specific requirement. So soft jaws usually are made of aluminum. I've seen 3D printed plastic ones. I've seen jaws made out of brass, etc. So with soft jaws, you're going to have a softer material or the same material as your item so that when you're clamping, you're not actually damaging any of the surfaces. So if you've seen a lot of the videos that we run serrated jaws for our roughing applications, those would leave an indent on this surface in this case, causing us some issues. So that's why we don't do it. So this item here can go both ways. You don't need to soft jaw this. You could run this with parallels The reason why I chose to use soft jaws on this specific application, part's pretty thin, and we're going to 3D surface, including this radius here. So we're getting pretty close to the bottom. So with hard jaws, this material here was aluminum. With hard jaws, I don't want to hit that jaw as we come in. So I wanted to run soft jaws just in case we did hit the jaw. We made sure that we were just, if we do gouge the jaw, it's just aluminum, nothing's going to happen. Tool would be fine. The other reason I chose to go with a soft jaw in this application was the gap here. Could I have made this gap bigger? Yes, but I really wanted to contain most of the part because it is getting thinner here. We chose this because like a traditional vice stop would be hard to get in here. I think this is only 1/8 of an inch gap. Yep, 1/8 of an inch. So if you try to get like a vice stop in there to position the part, if you didn't have the soft jaw, so if this was all cleared out, it would just be a little difficult, I think, to get that. So one thing I do note, I got this trick from Pat, Job Shopper. Always put some sort of locating feature on soft jaws if you know you're going to run the job again. So this is designed to just put a parallel in. So we'll put a parallel on the right side, and then we can tighten it all up when the jaws are much further out, just giving us that alignment feature so that when we re-put these jaws in, because these are not dovetail style jaws, these are standard bolt-on jaws, that gives you some repeatability on where the part is located. So always think about some sort of feature to incorporate. And then one thing to note is I like to engrave my fixed jaw always, just so I know which one is fixed. And if I'm looking through my drawers of jaws, I know what the job was. So the other aspect here is I always like to have a finished machine surface here as well as here, and also on the fixed jaw, because I will use that theoretical point here. You obviously can't see it, but I'll use that point as a datum, or like my G54, or really whatever work coordinate system I'm working in. I'll use that as my 0. Because on features like this, it's hard to pick up on a point. I could have put an artificial hole in here. I've done that as well in soft jaws. But because I knew these jaws were machined nicely, I just went with that. So let's talk about some things to also think about. So let's hide the item here. So when we go here, this is just kind of at a goofy angle because the way the part's modeled, the base. But you'll notice here, wrong jaws. You'll notice here, I've kind of relieved these outsides just so I don't have any issues with this radius meeting up with this radius and having any concerns there. So kind of like a drilled out corner, I just milled it out here because I didn't want to change a tool. I ran one tool to do the whole job for the soft jaws, so just left it in. I also like to radius out from where the jaw ends just to avoid any sharp edges here. Even with a chamfer, you could put a witness line here because the bottom of this jaw, let's show that. The bottom of this part is never seen. So sometimes I will also radius this edge if it is a highly visible item to make sure that if I radius this out, I have no witness marks potentially there either. So it's just some things to think about on your item when you put it out there. So this part, we did a bunch of 3D surfacing to get all these scallops in there. So soft jaws were great for that application. Let's go to another item. This item, 2 different soft jaw operations, op 2 of this part and op 3. One, we used purchase jaws. One, we had to make jaws. And we'll show you that here shortly, but this is op 2. So nothing fancy here. You'll notice we radiused out these corners again. So there's the item. Op 2, we're just going to take off the top hat, put this contour in, drill and tap this hole, and do some surfacing. Again, fixed jaw is engraved, so we know. And we also picked up, here you can see it, this was my G55 or work coordinate 0 for op 2, because I didn't have any great features to pick up off of because there was a carrier on this part. So something to think about, like I said, but this is op 2. Nothing really special about these jaws, just some radiused out pockets. You'll notice here I kind of flared out as well just to avoid some issues down the road, potentially with part marking, etc. So nothing crazy on these jaws. You'll notice I also didn't model the full jaw. I didn't see the need. I knew I was nowhere near my bolts on this jaw, so I said fine. Now let's go to op 3. So this is the op 3 jaw. A little goofy. This is where I had to make jaws. So because of the height of this jaw, this is 2.5-ish. I couldn't find jaws that I could purchase that fit this bill. So I think these are inch thick, 2.5 by 6. I couldn't find purchase ones. I did eventually find some, but it was like a week-long lead time, and I needed to get this job out the door. So we actually ended up having to overnight these parts halfway across the U.S. to get the job out. So I had to make jaws here. Not a big deal, but one reason you might want to make your jaws is because of size. So here, if I ran with the normal jaw height, which I believe is 2, I'd end up cutting into these bolt holes, and then we'd have some issues where the bolts might sit, interfere with the part, etc. So here's that part. So this jaw is created to orientate this surface perpendicular to my Z. Instead of putting it on parallels and trying to indicate it in flat, I had like 20, 25 of these to run. I didn't want to do that every time. Making this jaw was quick and easy. So not a lot to it. Just pocket, again, drilled out corners to make sure I don't have any issues. Flared out so we don't mar up the part. Pretty simple. So one thing you'll notice here is this jaw contains 70% of this part. We will have this same jaw size, but blank, so there'll be no contour cut out as our movable jaw, and it'll just clamp it in and hold it in. Again, repeating myself, thank you to Pat. This is another tip he gave me. I've done this multiple times on different parts where I had goofy holes at an angle. You can actually see that in some of my other videos. So I'm using this tip a lot. Again, thank you, Pat, for that. But we did that for this. So you'll see drilled out corners here, like I said, just to make sure the part sits there, sits nice, it's orientated. This is super flat when it's in the item in the jaw. And then that movable jaw just holds the item in, prevents it from falling out or rocking out. Could I have done both sides with this contour and left a gap? Yes, but then orientation becomes a little goofy. Even if you had like a parallel slot trick to hold it in, I just find it's hard to line the two up. So I go with this style anytime I have an item like this that I need to do. So this is one of those cases where you're going to want to look at, can I buy jaws or can I make jaws? I usually buy jaws because I don't have capacity or time to be just making soft jaws. There are companies that do that. That's all they do. So I will gladly give them my business. Yes, it is a little more pricey, but it's better than sitting here racking my head around how am I going to find time to cut soft jaw blanks, really, to create soft jaws. I'll just bolt them in, go. So something to think about here. And this is one of those cases where, like I said, I did have to make jaws. Not the end of the world, but it would have been nice if I had a jaw blank. Could have thrown it in and ran it, but alas, we had to make jaws here. So we'll show you those jaws now. So here we have op 1 of these soft jaws. So we're gonna mill the slots, mill the profile in it, and then we will actually flip it, deck off the bottom. So this is one of those 2 ways I was describing about with soft jaws. So you can leave the mill finish on all the surfaces, or you can cut it, and you'll see what I mean by cutting it out of a bigger block. Mill finish is completely fine as well, especially if you're just trying to put some slots in it, or you know you have enough clearance or your material is good. This one I kind of need a machine surface on all the ends for the item we're doing, so you'll see it here in a second. So here's the jaw cut. We've got the holes, obviously, for the vise. Here's that item that we need to hold. So wear offset on the tool that cut this path. Broke out those corners like we described to make sure that it sits nice. No real movement there. A little bit of rock up and down, but the other jaw will come in and clamp on that. And yeah, we should be able to drill and tap those holes now. No problem. So that's soft jaws in a nutshell. I hope you guys were able to learn something from this, feel more comfortable tackling making your own versus buying. whatever that might be in your application. So curious to hear, do you guys make or buy your own, and how do you approach soft draw applications? Drop a comment below. I'd love to hear from you guys, see your use and applications. And as always, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more Practical Machinist content.